Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another weekly astrology forecast. This week is pretty chill. We don't have any really crazy aspects happening. The major two things that are going to be happening this week is right at the beginning of the week, we are going to have our summer solstice, which means the sun is moving into the sign of Cancer. So happy birthday to all my Cancer babies. It is now your season. The other thing that's happening this week, right before we get started with the week, is Chiron is moving into the sign of Taurus. If you have not watched my Chiron in Taurus video, I highly suggest to do so. I go over every 12 signs, how Chiron in Taurus is going to be affecting you. This is a 7 to 8 year long transit. It will be going back retrograde into Aries later on this year, but then it will firmly stay planted in Taurus for the next 7.5 years. So this is going to be a major transit. We're just feeling this new energy now as it's showing up to us. So as this new energy starts getting settled in, we may start noticing a shift in these Chiron in Taurus themes. Like I said, once again, go ahead and check out that video that I've made on this topic so you can get a better understanding on what this all means for you specifically. Now, going back to this week on what major transits are going to be affecting us, we have on Thursday the Sun in Cancer going to be squaring Neptune in Aries. This is an aspect of tension. A square is a 90-degree aspect. It is happening between Cancer, which is a watery cardinal sign, and Aries, which is a fiery cardinal sign. So this is water and fire, both cardinal energies, but not really understanding each other too well because one is fire, the other one is water. The sun is our identity, it is our ego, it is how we show up and how we present ourselves into the world. Obviously, Cancers are going to be feeling a little bit more like themselves as the sun moves into the sign of Cancer, but I would see this aspect affecting cardinal signs as well. So if you do have Aries placements, you will be affected by this square. If you have Libra placements as well, you will also be affected by this activation of energy, especially if you have any placements within the first 5 degrees of the sign. Well, 5 to 10 degrees, I would say. So from 0 to 10 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn as well, because Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, you guys will all feel this aspect of tension a little bit more so than everyone else. But let's dive into just really briefly how this energy can manifest for us and how it can show up. Being that this is the sun, which is our identity, it's our ego, it's how we feel about ourselves and our purpose in this world. And Neptune brings idealism, it can also bring disillusionment, it is very dreamy, it's imaginative, it's not very grounded in reality. So it can have us feeling at odds with who it is that we are versus our dreams and goals. Maybe there are certain visions that we have for ourselves that aren't necessarily grounded in reality, or we aren't entirely sure if that's the vision that's truly meant for us. Have we been taking on visions or plans that other people have assigned to us, thinking, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing because this is what I have been told to do, and this is what, I've been doing for a long time. Maybe now that's going to be called into question with this Sun square Neptune. It's going to bring these ideas of maybe the way that I've been viewing how I show up into the world, who I am and who I want to be, isn't entirely in line with my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations. There could be some disillusionment, not being able to see things clearly. There could be some over idealization of certain ideas or paths that you're willing to take. So obviously with Neptune, usually any Neptune transits, the key word is discernment and boundaries. So making sure that you are trying to stay grounded. I do believe we do have some help with Mars being in the sign of Taurus, which brings in that grounding energy, being an earth sign. So it can definitely add some groundingness to it, allow us to really think things through before making any actual long-term decisions. Also, do remember that we are in the retrograde shadow period, so we are about to start our Mercury retrograde that's going to be happening starting next week. So I will definitely make a whole video on Mercury retrograde and we will talk about it in next week's astrology forecast as well. But just think of this Thursday with this Sun Neptune square as a time where your ideas, goals, dreams, aspirations, your visions for the future, and your imagination is going to be called into question. You're going to start questioning how it is that you've been viewing things, what truly is something that you want to do with your life. Do you really feel like moving forward on certain plans that you've been maybe pushing, or maybe someone told you this is the path that you want to take, and now with Neptune coming into the mix, you're starting to question all of that. However, it can also be a very highly creative time, a great time to connect with your intuition, to connect within yourself, just making sure that you're not getting so lost in the sauce of like the spiritualness of it all, getting so lost in the higher realms and the realms that are not in this 3D reality. It can also make you a little sleepy, right? Because Neptune also rules things like dreams and sleep. And so you could get a lot of messages in the dream space as well, especially if you have any of those Cancer placements or Aries placements. You're becoming a lot more connected with your intuition and things that aren't necessarily based here in the material realm. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not true or that they don't exist or that they're not valid. They could definitely can be. It's just a lot harder to prove and to show other people when all of the ideas and visions and hopes and dreams and aspirations that you have for yourself are all kind of in your head, and maybe saying them out loud to other people can sound a little too idealistic, a little too crazy, a little too delulu, because that's literally Neptune energy. It is delulu, is the salulu. So I would just be mindful of that energy as we move towards the end of the week. This is going to be an energy that's building up throughout the week. So as the sun moves into the sign of Cancer, starting on Sundays when it first enters, as we move into Thursday, it is building up this square to Neptune. On Thursday will be the exact day of the square. So if you've been watching my videos in the past, I've noted that sometimes the exact day of the aspect, which would be Thursday, sometimes we don't feel it as much when it's exact. We feel it more as it's building. So I would definitely, just keep that in mind as we're going throughout the week. Allow yourself to dive deep into your emotions. How are you feeling excited? Are you feeling joyful? Are you feeling happy and at ease? Or is everything feeling like it's constricted and it's just not feeling good and you're unhappy? That's going to give you some more guidance as to whether or not you're actually on the right path or if you're straying away. As we move into Cancer season, and we do have Mercury in Cancer, we also still have Jupiter in Cancer as well. There's a lot of watery energy, so our emotional body is going to start coming up to the forefront. Anything that has not been worked on in the emotional space is going to be called up to get worked on and to get released so that we can continue on and then push forward once Leo season comes along. Leo is that fiery energy to go and get stuff done and putting yourself out there, but you cannot do that if your emotional body and your emotional self is still dysregulated and you're still not entirely on board with your vision, your path forward. So, overall, that's the energy for the week. Like I said, nothing too intense. Next week is where things start getting a little crazy. So definitely make sure you're subscribed so you can stay tuned for that next week update. But let's move now into pulling some tarot cards with the animal tarot deck that I have here. Once again, my favorite deck. I love using it because it has cutest little pictures of all the little animals. So I'm going to pick one for the overall energy of the week. We're going to pick one for a challenge card. What is a challenge for this week that we should know about? And also the advice that we should know. And I am going to be channeling our higher selves for the greatest good of collective who is watching right now. So for the overall energy of this week, we have the Prince of Autumn. It is a cute little seahorse, and he has all these little gold coins around him, okay? Prosperity, good fortune. Let's take a look. Let's see what it says. Trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. Seahorse, it's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have that plan in place, then you can take immediate action and get as much accomplished as possible. I like how it says protective, trustworthy, dedicated. This is definitely giving more Cancerian energy. Someone who really wants to make sure all of their ducks are in a row and they're acting from a place that is for the good, not only of themselves, but like protecting their family, protecting their friends, protecting the people that they love closest to them, and making sure that a detailed plan is in place so that things can go smoothly and safely rather than acting from a place of just like chaos and not really knowing. That's definitely the vibes for this week, especially as we continue on into the month. Just making sure that before you decide to take any actions, that you are gathering all the information, looking at things from both sides, not just one, and making sure you're seeing all of the possible angles and taking calculated risks. Now, let's see for collective, my highest self and the highest self of all who is watching this video. What is a challenge card for this collective for this week? Here we go. 9 of Spring. We have the Gazelle. You've worked hard and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry, you'll get through them, just as you have in the past. That is the challenge card for the week. So yeah, the Gazelle showing up as the challenge card, I see it as kind of like you're moving forward, you're getting stuff done. The Gazelle is kind of like a silly goose type of energy, low-key. Because if you look at the face, she's kind of like, wee! I'm just hopping over all these little grass patches, hopping over this field. No, not a care in the world, not a thought in the brain. So I think it's basically just saying, some challenges may pop up this week, some might pop up towards the middle of the week as we get closer to this Sun square Neptune, but it's nothing that you can't handle. You already have, the Prince of Autumn, the Seahorse, which is your analytical side, your planning side. You're seeing things for what they are, and you're starting to make a plan of action, right? You're not acting too hasty, you're not acting too swiftly, but you are being able to see and weigh out all of your options before you act. And if some problems or challenges do arise that maybe you did not foresee coming, you have the ability to surpass those challenges. It's nothing that you cannot handle, nothing that you haven't handled in the past. And finally, an advice card for this collective. Okay. I never got this card. I love her. The Lynx. It's the Moon. I want to show you guys really quick because beautiful. I love it so much. The butterfly, the lynx, the moon, right next to this cute little riverbank. It says, it's important to trust your intuition. Even if you're unsure of what's happening, all will be revealed soon, so worry is unnecessary. Yes, I believe this entirely resonates with what we were talking about, especially with the Neptunian energy, with the Cancerian energy. Cancer is ruled by the moon. There's a lot of like intuitive downloads. There's a lot of things that you're getting this week that aren't necessarily physical. You're getting a lot of downloads. Notice how the lynx is like essentially being bathed by the rays of the moon, right? And receiving those downloads, receiving those intuitions, the butterfly in the background indicating that there's a transformation that's happening. There's growth that's happening. But the lynx is calm, it's chill, it's just relaxing. So it's just like being able to relax, knowing that you're receiving this guidance, receiving this intuition, and even if it's a little bit confusing and you're not sure what the next stage is going to be, know that this information that you're getting, these feelings that you're getting, because sometimes it can be hard to really distinguish, okay, like, is this just a feeling? Is my intuition picking up on something? It's going to feel a little bit confusing this week. It's like, what is this anxiety? Allowing yourself to just relax, receive, take it in, and know that things will clear up and you will be able to understand fully what the process is and what the path is in due time. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that is all of the energy for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.